For my presentation, I chose Gertrude Kasebier. Kasebier was one of the most influential American photographers in the late 1900s. Her portraitures were considered having the most artistic work than any other painter or photographer of her time. She used many planen points, gun bichromate, and silver processes. She also did some brushwork on her photographs. Although she used these techniques and processes, she would now go over her photographs because she believed it defeated the purpose of human capture. Kasebier was known for her images of motherhood and Native American life. At the age of 37, she attended art school, a time where women were concentrated in the position of social life. Although she had attended art school to practice painting and drawing, Kasebier was very interested in photography and was determined to become a professional photographer, but never really said why her passion towards photography. Later on, one of her professors helped her out by promoting her career by writing about her work and introducing her to other photographers. In 1895, she became an assistant of a photographer named Samuel H. Lipsky, in which she learned a lot from. Kasebier learned how to run a studio and also expanded her knowledge of prints. Just a year later, in 1896, she came up with photographs that were exhibited in the Boston Camera Club. In 1897, Kasebier lectured on her work at the Photographic Society of Philadelphia and encouraged many women to take photography as a career. Kasebier also worked with Stieglitz, and in 1901 she became founder of Stieglitz Photo Session Group. Eventually, until 1912, Kasebier broke her relation with Stieglitz but continued photographing. For the critical analysis, one of the pictures I chose was an image of a leader of a Native American tribe. While living in New York in 1898, Kasebier saw a parade from the Buffalo's Wild Wing West cast that represented American culture, and many performances were put by Native Americans, the Sioux. She felt a connection to this because it brought back memories from her childhood when she used to live in the Great Plains in Colorado, interacting with Native Americans. Fascinated by this, Kasebier wrote a letter to Buffalo Bill asking for permission to photograph Native Americans. He agreed and they arranged a photographic session in her studio. One of the Native Americans she photographed was Chief Flying Hawk, who was a veteran of the Great Sioux War in 1876. In these two pictures I chose, it shows the chief and the portraitures that were dry plate negatives. The second picture I chose was one titled Happy Days. It shows a mother hugging her child. Kasebier was greatly influenced by the philosophy of Frederick Froebel, whose ideas about learning and education led to the development of the first kindergarten. She was also influenced by the arts and crafts movement, where it involves soft, romantic, and simple forms in works of art. The softness can definitely be seen in her motherhood picture simply by the way the mother holds the child. The third and last picture I chose was a planen with brushwork. In this image, Kasebier photographed Alfred Stieglitz in the journal camera work. To manipulate the tones of this print, she covered up sections of the negative and used brushwork to apply development solution to the printed paper. This became a handiworked watercolor image. For the descriptive interpretation and evaluation part of the presentation, I chose a plate glass negative photograph. The photograph was taken in 1907. The person in this image is a 33-year-old woman named Rose O'Neill. She was a well-known illustrator and artist who had been divorced twice by the time this photograph was taken. In this picture, there are many things to depict, from the way she is dressed to the way she lives and to the fact that she has a cigarette in her right hand. To me, this image is a lot. First, when I see the image, I think of a woman that is from a low class just by the way she is dressed and by the way the house looks. But I also think she's a rebel by the cigarette she's holding, even by the way she is sitting. The picture shows freedom, maybe even happiness, because even though she might be from a low class, She is happy compared to the rich, who most of the time aren't. To compare Kasebier, I chose two artists, Margaret Burke White and Julia Margaret Cameron. Margaret Burke White was a documentary photographer and was the first American female photographer of war photojournalism. She was also the first woman to be allowed to work in the war zone during World War II. Margaret Cameron was a British photographer who took photography late at the age of 48. She became known for her celebrities' images, and in some cases, she did not take out the background. Kasebier is very different from Margaret White because what they transmit in their images is very different. While Margaret White shows brutality in the sense of war scenes showing bloody deaths, Kasebier shows sensibility in motherhood images. Although their images are different, they are both very important women. Margaret White was the first American female photographer of war journalism and the first woman to be allowed to work in the war zone. Kasebier was very influential by encouraging many women to take photography as a career. On the other hand, Julian Cameron and Kasebier both started to photograph later in life. Kasebier started when she was 37 and Julia Cameron when she was 48. Julia Cameron also did not take out the backgrounds in some images, much like Kasebier, who didn't bother going over her photographs. For my conclusion, I chose the American photographer Gertrude Kasebier because she decided to photograph even though she was 37 years old. She had a passion for photography and made an effort to accomplish the goal of becoming a photographer. Besides the fact that during these times, women were accustomed to being in the house, she didn't follow this rule. So I like her photographs. I like what her photographs of motherhood transmit sensibility and love. As for her pictures of Native American tribe, these images show culture and is very different from other photographers' images at this time, in the sense that there were a lot of war, landscape, and nude images. Kasebier was also a great influence to other women by encouraging them to allow themselves to try photography as a career. Here's my works cited. Thank you.